Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 403 based on novel. So let's start. Thunderous rumbles echoed and space itself flipped upside down. There was no sky or earth in space, but Wang Lin's mind contained its own world. At this moment, a shadow appeared. This shadow was like a cloud. It churned and rumbled as it spread. Then a portion of the cloud sank and became the earth. The rest of the cloud floated up and formed the sky. Sky and earth appeared. All of this happened in an instant. As the woman closed in with her spell, with a wave of Wang Lin's hand, the earth became the sky. The sky rotated and became the earth. Even the woman in white couldn't help but move with it. You followed me the whole way and wanted to kill me, so you deserve to be killed. Wang Lin's right hand mercilessly pressed down. The earth that had become the sky came crashing down. As the earth descended, the world trembled and an unimaginable pressure appeared. The expression of the woman in white changed. Tao Master Blue Dream's Heaven Reversal Stamp. He passed that spell to you. The woman stopped moving forward and her body was reversed. Then her hands formed a seal and she muttered something. White light came from her body to resist this spell. However, the Heaven Reversal Stamp was one of Tao Master Blue Dream's great spells. At this moment, the earth that became the sky smashed down. The spatial crack created by the woman in white immediately collapsed. The white light from her body also disintegrated. At this moment of danger, she opened her mouth and spat out a white jade. The moment the jade appeared, the world trembled and the jade floated before the woman, forming a white barrier. Thunderous rumbles spread across the stars. The earth and sky overlapped at this moment, creating an even more violent pressure. Space itself seemed like it was ready to collapse as large amounts of spatial cracks appeared. A moment later, everything disappeared. The world that had appeared disappeared the moment the sky and earth overlapped. However, the destructive aura created by it still lingered. The woman's face was pale and killing intent filled her eyes. The jade floating around her made it so she wouldn't be killed by the Heaven Reversal Stamp. You send me a projection avatar with only third heaven's blight cultivation and dare to try to kill me. If not for you having a strange body that made it hard for me to detect you, I would have killed you a long time ago. Since the first time I noticed you, I have been wondering about something. If you were really a third-step cultivator, how could you have allowed me to leave so easily? If you have a real body, how come I couldn't smell you even when you were that close? If you had a real body, why would you need a treasure to resist the Heaven Reversal Stamp? Wang Lin smiled. His words were like knives that cut into the woman in white. This was the speculation in his mind. In order to confirm this speculation, he didn't escape and instead decided to fight with the woman in white. If this person really was a third-step cultivator, then even if he used spatial bending, it would be difficult to escape. However, if she wasn't, then he, Wang Lin, also wasn't someone who could be easily provoked. You're a mere projection avatar without a body. You wanted to absorb my divinity and even used an illusion to turn into my loved one. Just for that you must die? Wang Lin took a step forward and waved his hand after he spoke. The wind and rain world suddenly spread out to 10,000 feet. The battle souls on the fragments flew out and charged at the woman in white. The woman's expression was gloomy. She had to admit that she had underestimated Wang Lin's ability. She had only met Wang Lin by accident and thought she had a foolproof plan. However, she didn't think that he would notice her on their first meeting, nor that on the second meeting she would be at a disadvantage in battle. Unfortunately, my original body can't come, otherwise, there was a flash of coldness in her eyes. However, at this moment, she saw the battle souls inside the wind and rain world, and her expression changed once more. This is, while she was shocked, the countless souls rushed out and surrounded her. There was a milky white aura around them when they began their attack. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the woman in white quickly retreated. Her hands quickly formed a seal and she reached toward the void. Black light appeared in her grasp and flashed rapidly in her hand. Spirit Destruction Light? There was a flash of killing intent in her eyes and she waved her hand. Just as the black light shot toward the battle souls, the wind and rain world suddenly disappeared and turned into countless smaller worlds around each battle soul to resist the black light. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world. The battle souls were forced to retreat before the black light, but none of them were damaged. All the attacks were negated by the wind and rain world around them. The woman in white continued to retreat, and in the blink of an eye, she retreated thousands of feet. Wang Lin took a step forward and closed in on the woman in white. She had the jade protecting her, so she wasn't afraid of getting injured. She raised her right hand once more and even more black light gathered to form a black longsword. The moment this sword appeared, the world changed colors and a thunderous rumble echoed. She looked at Wang Lin and waved her right hand. The black longsword flew directly at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The moment the black longsword arrived, his hands formed a seal and he softly said, "Light and shadow shield." After he spoke, all the light in space began to gather. All light, including starlight and light invisible to the eye, gathered around Wang Lin like crazy. As the light gathered, a giant light shadow appeared. The black longsword closed in and immediately collided with the light shadow. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed and spread. The light shadow shined brightly when the black longsword collided with it. While a majority of the light shadow collapsed, the reflecting force caused the black longsword to turn around and shoot toward the woman in white. The moment the woman in white saw Wang Lin's light and shadow shield, her pupils shrank. She quickly retreated, but the black longsword was too fast and landed on the barrier around her body. Thunderous rumbles echoed and her face became even more pale. The jade protecting her became even more dim. However, it wasn't over. Right after reflecting the black longsword, Wang Lin charged out. He raised his right hand and monstrous bloodlight appeared. The blood sword appeared in his hand, and he mercilessly chopped down. "Die for me!" As he roared, a monstrous bloodlight lit up space and created a monstrous killing intent toward the woman in white. Her expression changed once more as she anxiously formed seals and created countless layers of protection before her body. However, the bloodlight was too fast and directly pierced through the countless layers of protection before colliding with the jade. A thunderous roar shook the world, and space itself trembled. A cracking sound came from the jade and a crack appeared on it. The woman in white coughed out a mouthful of blood. She retreated and her body became blurry and disappeared. Seeing the woman coughing out blood, Wang Lin's pupils shrank and he was startled for a moment. His speculation was that she was only a projection avatar and was not corporeal. However, looking at it now, she had blood. However, he was battling and therefore didn't have time to think. Killing intent filled his eyes as he charged out with the blood sword. His 5 essences rotated in his eyes and he looked around. He once more found the woman in white. He mercilessly chopped down with the blood sword once more. "Original body, save me!" The woman in white had a mournful expression as she quickly retreated. She began to chant and wave her hand. The jade with a crack shined brightly. A white, jade-like hand came out of the light and gently pointed at Wang Lin, who was closing in. The appearance of this hand caused the world to stop. Even light dimmed. Everything seemed to become pale before this hand. It was as if the entire world was replaced by this hand. And everything the hand was pointing at collapsed. The moment the finger pressed down, Wang Lin suddenly felt a powerful sense of life and death crisis, far stronger than with deoised water. Wang Lin suddenly stopped and he didn't hesitate to wave his hand. The thousands of wind and rain worlds instantly fused into one and surrounded his body. At this moment, Wang Lin used the light and shield once more. Large amounts of light gathered and formed a giant light shadow. Just at this moment, the index finger of the jade-like hand collided with the light shadow around Wang Lin. The light shadow trembled and made a noise that sounded like it couldn't withstand it. It began to collapse. As it collapsed, waves of reflecting force shot out and resisted the finger. However, the finger wasn't stopped at all and directly penetrated the light shadow. This caused the light and shadow shield to completely disintegrate. The moment it disintegrated, it landed on the wind and rain world around Wang Lin's body. The world trembled violently and the souls inside howled. Milky white aura came out of the souls to resist this finger. However, the finger was unimaginably powerful. After the light and shadow shield was destroyed, it seemed as if the wind and rain realm could disintegrate at any moment. The finger created a giant concave on the wind and rain world. As it pushed in further, the world trembled even more violently. The milky white aura resisted like crazy as it attempted to offset the force inside the finger. Wang Lin's body quickly retreated as he clearly felt that the wind and rain world couldn't resist much longer. At this moment of danger, his eyes revealed madness, and he waved his right hand to open his storage space. The moment his storage space appeared, the wind and rain world rapidly contracted until it was inside Wang Lin's body. Without anything hindering it, the finger pressed down between Wang Lin's eyebrows. However, the moment it closed in, Wang Lin roared and the giant ancient god finger bone came out of the storage space and blocked before Wang Lin. The jade-like index finger pressed directly on the ancient god finger. A thunderous rumble caused the star field itself to tremble. Wang Lin coughed out a large mouthful of blood and was pushed back with the ancient god finger bone. An invisible light penetrated the ancient god finger bone and went through Wang Lin's chest. It pierced out through Wang Lin's back along with blood mist. The finger suddenly trembled when it collided with the ancient god finger, as if it had just withstood a powerful impact. The finger became blurry and was about to dissipate. Intense pain washed over Wang Lin. If it was anyone else, they would definitely want to escape, but not Wang Lin. He ignored the pain and had a fierce expression as he raised his right hand. Bloodlight gathered into the blood sword and he mercilessly chopped down on the finger. The blood sword flashed and landed on the finger. The moment the blood sword closed in, the hand reached up to catch it. However, the blood sword directly penetrated through the hand. There was a faint, delicate groan and the hand was split in half and dissipated from the world as if it had never appeared. The jade before the woman in white shattered into dust. The woman in white was completely pale and coughed out blood. She quickly retreated and merged with the world to escape. You can't escape. Wang Lin's chest was a bloody mess and blood was flowing down. Although the finger was blocked by the light and shadow shield, wind and rain world, and the ancient god finger, a trace of it had still pierced through Wang Lin's chest. If it was an ordinary cultivator, if they weren't killed, they would be seriously injured. However, Wang Lin was an ancient god and therefore had a powerful healing factor. In just a moment, Wang Lin's wound showed signs of healing. As the woman in white fled, Wang Lin gathered all his treasure and gave chase. Searching for the ripples created when the woman in white escaped, Wang Lin merged with the world. He pursued her from the traces of the ripples. This was the complete opposite of what happened before. From being hunted to the one hunting. The woman in white was fleeing in panic, while Wang Lin was in hot pursuit. This woman's cultivation is strange. Although it looks like a projection avatar, it has flesh and blood. If this is true, then she really must die. If I don't take advantage of her being seriously injured to kill her, then there will definitely be trouble in the future. Also, she must have some secret on her. The spell she used just now was clearly summoning the power of her original body. If my spells hadn't become stronger while I was at the Blue Silk clan, I would have died. This woman is also more familiar with the ancient star system than me, so I must kill her as soon as possible. If she flees to some place I can't find, then all of this will be for nothing. Wang Lin continued to merge with the world as he chased and began hunting her. Ripples echoed among the stars in the ancient star system and the woman in white staggered out. Her face revealed a rare sign of panic and she was about to teleport away from this place. However, her expression changed. She clenched her teeth and chose to merge with the world to escape. After she left, ripples appeared and Wang Lin's figure flashed. He didn't choose to appear but disappeared once more. The two of them only continued for a short of time. In less than 15 minutes, they had crossed paths several times, and the time between was getting shorter. The woman was extremely anxious as Wang Lin pursued her closely, giving her great pressure. This was something that was impossible before, but now she was becoming more and more anxious. Just 3 more and then I'll be safe, just 3 more. The woman in white appeared in space, her face pale. Just as she appeared and ripples appeared under her feet for her to leave, thunderous rumbles echoed. Endless thunder came from all directions, forming a vortex and distorting the origin energy here, preventing her from leaving. While her expression changed greatly, Wang Lin stepped out of the void with a cold gaze. He didn't even speak as he waved his right hand. The clouds appeared once more to form the sky and earth. Heaven reversal stamp. As the world reversed, the sky and earth overlapped and a thunderous rumble echoed. The woman in white coughed out blood when the sky and earth overlapped. She quickly retreated, but there was a flash of bloodlight and the blood sword pierced through her back. She let out a miserable scream and her white clothes were dyed blood red. Large amounts of distortion appeared around her and countless images flashed by. Within images, there was a woman kneeling on the ground, and a jade-like hand reached out from the void. It pressed a white jade between her eyebrows. It only took a moment for those twisted images to collapse, and a rich, milky aura came from her head. This aura was almost solid and revealed a faint golden line. Wang Lin was no stranger to this milky white aura, it was Joss flame. However, this woman's Joss flame was extremely rich, which surprised Wang Lin. Just her Joss flame was enough to match 30% of the Joss flames in Wang Lin's wind and rain world. When the milky white aura filled her body, blood stopped flowing out of the wound created by the blood sword. Now that the bleeding had stopped, she anxiously retreated. While being surrounded by the milky white aura, she disregarded the distorted origin energy and merged with the world. If this woman can become a soul in my wind and rain world, Wang Lin's heart pounded. The moment the woman left, he also disappeared almost at the same time and began chasing once more. In the northwest domain of the ancient star system, there was a cultivation planet. This was where the demonic Scorpion clan was located. Although it wasn't a big clan, they were famous for their cruelty. Ripples echoed outside of a planet in the demonic Scorpion clan star domain. The woman in white stepped out and blood flowed down the corner of her mouth. After she appeared, she didn't hesitate to merge with the world once more. Only 2 more. After doing this 2 more times, I'll arrive there, and there won't be any danger. However, just as she was about to merge with the world, a bloodlight flashed. It penetrated through the void and headed for her forehead. It was filled with killing intent and was too fast. The woman had no time to dodge or merge with the world. At this moment of crisis, the milky white aura spread out and blocked. It collided with the blood sword. The blood sword penetrated the milky white aura, but its trajectory was changed, so it pierced through her right shoulder. She let out a miserable scream and quickly retreated while staring ahead viciously. At this moment, Wang Lin stepped out from the void and his right hand reached toward the woman in white. "Where are you going to run to?" Seeing that she was about to be caught, she bit the top of her tongue out, coughed out blood toward the milky white aura. A shocking roar resounded and a powerful impact spread out. Due to this impact, the woman's body was thrown away and dodged Wang Lin's grip. She then charged toward the cultivation planet below. At the same time, the woman let out a mournful scream. "Where is the demonic Scorpion clan? I'm one of the blue concubine's avatars. Quickly, stop this person." The moment her voice spread out, cultivators immediately rushed out. In just an instant, almost 1,000 cultivators flew out of the cultivation planet. The moment these cultivators appeared, they didn't hesitate to charge toward Wang Lin. The woman in white took out some pills and devoured them. She looked at Wang Lin with a venomous gaze and was about to merge with the world to leave once more. How could Wang Lin let her escape? He waved his right hand and his body rapidly expanded into his 10,000-foot ancient god body. He charged forward and his fist swept past everyone as he threw a fierce punch. With one punch, the world rumbled and the entire star field seemed like it was going to collapse. A giant spatial crack suddenly appeared and extended indefinitely as if the entire star field was going to be split open. The woman in white that had merged with the world was forced out by this spatial crack as soon as it appeared. Her face was deathly pale and she quickly retreated. As Wang Lin charged forward, those 1,000 cultivators' spells and magic treasures arrived. Wang Lin didn't even look at them as he moved forward. Light gathered from all directions and formed a light shadow around him. All spells and treasures were reflected when they fell on the light shadow. Wang Lin was like a 10,000-foot light giant, and as he moved forward, the cultivators screamed as they were hit by their own reflected attacks. Some of them had their bodies destroyed by the impact from Wang Lin's charge. In a flash, Wang Lin closed in and threw a punch at the retreating woman in white. The other cultivation planet within the demonic Scorpion clan noticed the commotion, and a large amount of cultivators flew out. However, the woman in white felt that the only thing left was her and the light shadow giant. The giant punch closed in, and no one could block it for her. At this moment of crisis, she released even more milky white aura. When the punch arrived, the milky white aura rushed to the spot between her eyebrows. A mark appeared between her eyebrows. This mark was 3 lines that gave off red, yellow, and blue light. The moment it appeared, a memory she seemed to have forgotten flashed through her mind. In her memory, she knelt on the ground and was chosen as the saintess of the River Clan. On the acceptance day, a jade-like hand appeared before her. The hand was warm, and when it touched her forehead, it erased her clan mark. From today onward, you will become one of my avatars. You will use your body to nourish my projection avatar to help me heal. You will also become my Joss Flame disciple. This memory flashed across her mind, but time didn't allow her to think too much. The moment the mark appeared, the milky white aura formed a vortex. The vortex confronted Wang Lin's punch. Thunderous rumbles echoed and space itself trembled. The woman in white coughed out blood and was thrown away. As she was being thrown away, the milky white aura surrounded her, allowing her to break all barriers and merge with the world. Wang Lin's right hand felt numb and his eyes revealed a strange light. As the woman in white disappeared, he took a step and also disappeared. After he left, the light disappeared, leaving behind countless corpses and the shocked demonic Scorpion clan cultivators that had arrived late. In the eastern part of the ancient star system, ripples dispersed as the woman in white surrounded by the milky white aura walked out. She was almost like an empty oil lamp. After she appeared, she didn't hesitate to take the last step. The last one. Once I get there, I'll be rescued. However, just as she raised her right foot, the world trembled and space itself shook. Bloodlight pierced through the void from all directions and charged at the woman in white. The woman in white didn't even look at Wang Lin, who appeared with a venomous and mocking expression. When the blood sword arrived, her body was already transparent. No matter how much the blood sword tried, it couldn't injure her body. As the woman in white was about to disappear, she said these cold words, "I'll let you go for now, but you will die for sure next time. Keep your divinity safe. It won't be long before we see each other again." However, what answered her was Wang Lin's right index finger and an even colder voice. "Stop." After he spoke, the world stopped moving. Even the woman, who was turning transparent, stopped as well. Her eyes still retained the coldness and ridicule. Everything in the world stopped. While everything was stopped, Wang Lin took a step and his right hand reached toward the woman in white. The 5 essences in his eyes rotated rapidly and a portion of it broke off into his right hand. This allowed his reach to break through everything. He pierced through the ripples and caught her transparent body. He then pulled her out from the void. "I told you, you can't escape." Holding the woman in white, the stop spell dissipated. The woman's body quickly turned from transparent to corporeal. Her eyes were filled with disbelief and panic. Wang Lin had already turned to normal, and his right hand held the woman in white. He lifted his left hand to search her soul, but milky white aura rushed out. It wasn't to attack Wang Lin, but to destroy the woman in white. Without any time to search her soul, Wang Lin was more reluctant to give up her soul. As the milky white aura was about to destroy her, there was a flash of bloodlight and the blood sword pierced the woman. He destroyed her origin soul before the milky white aura could. This was stealing the soul from the reincarnation cycle and stealing Joss flames from the blue concubine. The moment the woman in white trembled for the last time and completely died, the soul of a woman appeared in his wind and rain world. A powerful Joss flame came from her soul and was absorbed by Wang Lin. After the woman in white died, her flesh melted into a pool of blood water. However, a golden thread flew out of it and charged for the void. This golden thread was formed by the projection avatar the blue concubine had been nourishing. Now that the woman in white had died, the golden thread was about to break through the void and return to the recovering blue concubine. Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and swung the blood sword at the golden thread. However, the indestructible blood sword went through the thread and didn't damage it at all. The golden thread didn't seem to belong to this world. It had no solid form and couldn't be injured by treasures at all. The golden thread flew further and was about to disappear. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's mind trembled and his storage space opened without his will. Then a woman walked out. This woman was wearing silver. It was the silver corpse. She walked out from the storage space and looked at the golden thread with confusion in her eyes. Looking at the golden thread that had broken through the void and disappeared, she raised her hand and gently reached out. Space rumbled and time seemed to reverse. The gold thread that had disappeared reappeared once more. It continued to struggle without any effect and was caught by the woman in silver. The moment the golden thread landed in the woman in silver's hand, it trembled violently as if it didn't dare to struggle. The woman in silver looked at the golden thread for a long time. There was still confusion in her eyes, and she gently squeezed it. With a pinch, the golden thread collapsed into golden mist and entered her orifices as if it were being devoured by her. Wang Lin squinted his eyes as he looked at everything before him. He had long wondered about her identity, but there were too few clues to guess who she was. However, from Deostwater's shock and fear from seeing her, Wang Lin knew that the silver corpse's identity wasn't simple. How could this kind of person become a refined corpse by the Cultivation Alliance? How did the Cultivation Alliance get her body? Wang Lin looked at the familiar silver corpse. Her eyes were still filled with confusion as she looked into the distance. No one knew what she was thinking. After a long time, Wang Lin calmly asked, "Do you remember who you are?" The woman in silver silently pondered as she looked back at Wang Lin. The confusion in her eyes became even stronger and she gently shook her head. "I only felt like the aura inside that golden thread was very familiar." Wang Lin's eyes shined as he carefully examined the woman and suddenly said, "Could it be you're one of the 8 ancient imperial concubines?" As he spoke, his eyes were like lightning as he stared at her eyes. After hearing those words, the confusion in her eyes became even stronger and she softly said, "No memory. Ever since I awakened, I can't remember." There was pain in her expression. She shook her head and turned toward the storage space. It was as if that was the only place where she could silently cultivate and not think about herself. However, the moment she was about to enter the spatial crack, she stopped. There was a trace of clarity in her confused eyes. She hesitated for a bit and turned toward Wang Lin. "Although I can't remember a lot of things, I vaguely know something. I can see that you have some joss flames in your body. I vaguely remember that joss flame is a poison. It was a heavenly scam. I seem to have lost everything due to it." The storage space crack shrank and disappeared after the woman in silver entered. However, a word set off a huge wave inside Wang Lin's mind, and his eyes shined brightly. From the Lord of the Sealed Realm, Deostwater, and Tao Master Blue Dream, he had learned that joss flames was the key to reaching the 3rd step and the key to nourishing his essences. He had gradually come to this conclusion himself, but right now the woman in silver's words were the complete opposite. For some unknown reason, Wang Lin felt a chill. He looked up at the sky and began to ponder. Poison. Scam. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin merged with the world. The woman in white has died and become a soul in my wind and rain world. There should be no one paying attention to me for now. This way, I have a chance of completing my essences. Wang Lin merged with the world and his divine sense spread out. According to the memories of the Outer Realm cultivators I devoured, the Scatter Thunder clan doesn't have a 3rd step cultivator. There is a bolt of lightning that has existed since the beginning of time, and it is the clan's holy object. It is also the source that allows the clan to control thunder. If I devour this thunder, it will allow my thunder essence to grow. As for joss flames, in the end, which of them is telling the truth? Wang Lin used spatial bending to appear in a foreign star domain. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Whether it is true or false, I should be extremely vigilant. I have never relied on any Joss flames in my cultivation. I have comprehend my own Tao, and even my essences were created without relying on the so-called Joss flames. Wang Lin's body merged with the world again as he moved toward where the Scatter Thunder clan was. This video will end here.